Now, for our What in the World segment, what got my attention this week was something I heard last Sunday from two very prominent people on another program on another network. The guests were Henry Paulson, the former Secretary of the Treasury, and Alan Greenspan, the longtime former chairman of the Federal Reserve. About two-thirds of the way through the interview, David Gregory, the moderator of Meet the Press, asked Paulson about the deficit and how serious a problem it is.
It is by far the most serious long-term challenge we as a nation face. All these other issues, economic issues, are minor compared to that. It's very, very difficult to get Congress to act on anything that's big and difficult and controversial if there's not an immediate crisis.
And then Gregory asked Greenspan, and Greenspan agreed with Paulson, and I agree with Paulson. And it's the same thing Paul Volcker said earlier in the program. Leaders in Washington have to find the courage of their convictions to deal with the deficit, right? Now, the next topic Gregory asked about was taxes. Listen again.
Part of the fix here, according to the budget, it has to do with the issue of taxes. Here's how the Wall Street Journal put it in a headline on Tuesday, and that is that the wealthy face a tax increase. Those Bush-era tax cuts are going to be allowed to expire by this administration. Secretary Paulson, is that a bad idea?
Well, I've got to say, anything right now that is going to, in effect, be a tax increase is got to be questioned. And an expiring tax cut is a tax increase.
And what does Chairman Greenspan think?
I agree with what Hank is saying.
So after emphatically espousing the view that Congress has got to come together and tackle the deficit, Paulson and his partner in the hot seat cannot muster the courage to suggest letting the tax cuts expire. Now, please understand that the Bush tax cuts are the single largest part of the black hole that is the federal budget deficit. Letting them expire would take rates back to where they were under Bill Clinton when the economy grew very robustly. And cutting the deficit without any tax increases would require massive cuts in middle-class programs that would never pass. Now, remember, neither Paulson nor Greenspan is currently in elected office or even unelected office. They don't need to pander, and yet they do. That is a symbol of Washington. Even they can't muster the courage of their convictions to say, yes, we have to increase some taxes in the face of deficits larger than at any point since World War II. And if these two men, with nothing to lose, can't bring themselves to even say it, how can we expect elected politicians to actually do it? For shame. And we'll be right back.
You have many wives. You practice polygamy. There are many people who say this is symbolically a great step backward for the leader of South Africa to be embracing a practice that they say is inherently unfair to women. How do you react?